Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm super excited to dive into this next section with you, our evening routine. All right, if you haven't printed out the PDF already, go get the PDF for your evening routine, get it ready so you can go through this exercise with us on the video today. So, like I mentioned on the last video, our evening routine, this really is the top button. Okay, if we have our evening routine right, if we go to bed on time and we before we go to bed, we plan out our day and we set things out so they're ready for us in the morning, now we're on track to have a phenomenal morning the next day. Okay, this is our top button that's going to make everything else fall in place. And one of the key pieces to that is going to be having what I call the reverse alarm. Now, our normal alarm, we have an alarm that goes off in the morning, and when the alarm goes off, we get out of bed. We get out of bed, and then we go do our morning routine. Now, I want the same to happen, but in the reverse in the evening. Our alarm goes off, we go through our evening routine, and then we go to bed. Okay? We're going to set an alarm that's going to remind us, okay, it's time to start my evening routine and then go to bed. Now, just like as we talked about with our morning routine, I want you to start small with our evening routine. Okay, if you've been in the same routine of going to bed the same way for 10 years, it's going to be hard to start adding new things in there. All right, so we're going to start small and let the habit grow from there. So, our end of the day routine, I'm going to give you again a list of things that I'm going to go over. We're going to talk through them, but I want you to get the PDF. We're going to go through a similar exercise with our evening routine. So before we go to bed, great things to put in there. Now you're not just going to be limiting to these things, but these are some great routines and habits to be familiar with. Review your day before you go to bed. If you're using the Goal Crazy Planner, you've probably seen that one of the top sections in our end of the day review is we write our accomplishments for that day. And it's so important to go to bed by focusing on what we did accomplish that day rather than what we didn't accomplish that day. Our natural tendency is to go to bed thinking about, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't do this. And we go to bed feeling stressed, behind, anxious, all right? And it actually can affect your sleep. If before you go to bed, if you shift your focus from what you didn't do to what you did do, at night, you're going to be like, wow, I did this, I did this, I did this. Now it gives you confidence to know that tomorrow you're going to be able to get lots of things done tomorrow also. All right, we're going to end our day on a positive note. Now we're going to plan tomorrow's day before we go to bed. Okay, this is a great routine to be in. At the end of the day, we wrap up our day, we plan out tomorrow's day. It's going to help your mind the whole time when you're sleeping. It's going to be planning out your day, mentally rehearsing for it. So then you can get up and you can be efficient and productive throughout your day. Review your goals. Just like in the morning, we want to review our goals. We're going to keep them top of mind. So that way our mind is constantly looking for opportunities to move us in the direction of our goals. We're going to journal, okay? Mind dump. Take those things that are on our mind, put them on paper. I'm sure we've all had things where it's like in the middle of the night, you wake up and it's like, oh, I need to remember to do this. All right. Oh, I have to remember to do this, this, and this. Or there's something that you're worried about, anxious about. If before you go to bed, if you take all those things and you dump them out of your head and you put them onto paper, now you can let your mind relax a little more. Oh, I have that all written down. If I need to refer back to it, it's written down. Pull it out of your head, put it on paper. Pray, different things for spirituality. If you want to read, meditate, take time for silence. You can read self-help. You can read a novel. What's going to help? What do you want to be including into your routines? It's going to be positive for you. Work out. Some people like to work out in the evenings rather than in the mornings. Prepare for our first alarm tomorrow. The next training after this is going to be how to get up on your first alarm. And the best way to do that is there's certain things you're going to do the night before that's going to prepare you to get up on your first alarm. So if you want to get up on your first alarm, you should prepare the night before. And then obviously you have your normal personal hygiene things, shower, brush teeth, etc. So I want you to start to think about and create a list. What would you like to include in your evening routine? Don't be limited to just this list. There might be other things that are relevant to you. Maybe if you have children, a spouse, other things you want to include in there, write them out. Make a list. And remember, less is more. 2, 3, 4 things that you want to start including in your evening routine. All right, so go ahead and pause the video, set a timer for 2 minutes, make your list, and then come right back. All right, so once you've done that, The next step is we need to determine how many hours of sleep you want. And I want you to be generous with this. Sleep is important, okay? Our bodies are meant to have sleep. We're supposed to have sleep. It's going to help us get up in the morning. It's going to help us have a better day in the morning. We make better decisions when we're asleep. It's healthier for us to sleep. Be generous to yourself, okay? I don't want you to say, oh, I can only sleep, I'm looking to get 4 hours sleep. No. I sleep at least 8 hours a night. You can call me crazy for doing that or lazy, but that's how I feel best. I'm way more efficient than if I sleep 6 hours a night. Throughout the day, I feel better, I get more done, and I enjoy life more, which is worth it. So determining how many hours of sleep you want. This is going to be where we're going to start. And if you have your PDF, it'll follow right along with this. Okay, once we have the number of hours we sleep, we're going to use that to determine the time that we have to be in bed asleep by. So if you're getting up, if your morning routine starts at 6 a.m. and you want to get 8 hours of sleep, you have to be in bed by 10 a.m. Or I'm sorry, by 10 p.m. you have to be in bed. Right? If your morning routine starts at 6 a.m. and you want to get 7 hours of sleep, then you have to be in bed by 11 a.m. Now, kind of how I was talking about with start small, if you're somebody who only sleeps 6 hours a night, probably going from 6 hours of sleep a night to 8 hours a night might be hard for you to make that change all at once. Right? You might want to start small with that. If you're somebody who sleeps 6 hours a night and you want to start working your way towards 8, maybe you increase to 6.5 or to 7 first. So we're going to use how many hours we want to determine the night time we need to be asleep. Now I want you to go through your list of the different things you want to include in your evening routine and put a time by it. How long does each one of these things take? All right, and I also want these things to be quantified. I don't want you to just say, hey, I'm going to read for 10 minutes. I'm going to read for 5 minutes. I'm going to read one chapter, whatever it is. Put a time by it so we can plan accordingly. Then add up the times, and remember to include things, like brush your teeth. Add up the amount of time that your whole evening review takes you. And then we're going to use that to determine when we're going to set our reverse alarm. So if you want to get up at 6 a.m., you want to get 8 hours of sleep, that means you have to be asleep by 10 p.m. And if your evening routine takes you 30 minutes, then you need to set your reverse alarm for 9:30. Okay, or if it takes you 45 minutes, then you need to set your alarm for 9:15. Okay? Then the next step, which we're going to work on together, is plan the specific steps you will take immediately once that alarm goes off. Okay, so our morning alarm, when it goes off, it's very straightforward of what we need to do. We need to get out of bed, right? First alarm, we get out of bed. What's the first thing we need to do with our evening alarm that's going to help move us into our end of the day routine? I like to think of these as dominoes. Remember when you were a kid, you'd set up all the dominoes and you'd click the one and they would all start falling over? What's the first action you need to take that's going to move you into your evening routine? Because it's going to be tempting when that alarm goes off to I'll just finish this episode of Netflix, or I'm just going to be on TikTok for 15 more minutes, right? We need something that we're going to do immediately when that goes off. Okay, I know for my wife and I, when it's time for us to go to bed, I start walking around and I turn off all the lights on the main level and I lock the doors. Okay, and that way it forces us, once I turn off all the lights on the main level, we don't hang out down there in the dark, right? It forces us, we go upstairs, and that's the first domino. Once we start doing that, then it forces us upstairs, and then we start going through our evening routine. Okay, now if you're somebody who maybe it's TV or social media or something that distracts you, that keeps you up late at night, maybe you need to address that. Maybe when that alarm goes off, it's like no matter what, when that alarm goes off, you take your phone and you go put it by your nightstand. Okay, what's the first step you're going to take that's going to force you into the motions of starting your end of the day routine? Okay, maybe it's putting away your phone. Maybe once that alarm goes off, you turn off the TV. Maybe it's just like, hey, when that alarm goes off, I turn off the lights and I go into my room, right? I know that if I'm in my room, or maybe I go into, maybe it's your office or wherever it is that you want to do your evening routine, probably not the office. That might distract you to start working, but what's the first action you're going to take? Turn off the lights. You could say, hey, right when it happens, I'm going to go brush my teeth. Typically, if you go brush your teeth, it puts you into the motions of going to bed. So tips. Similar to the morning, put your phone away. It's going to be a distraction. Go put it on your nightstand. Turn off the lights, right? That cues you up to get you started into an evening routine. Obviously, the reverse alarm. Now, with our end of the day routine, I want you to be realistic, right? We're going to start small. I also want you to be flexible with our evenings. You might have something on a Friday night, you have an event, or you have a dinner party that goes a little later. Be flexible. Some nights you might need to either you can not get as much sleep, or you can say, on those nights, I pulled this thing out. Your evening routine, might have to be a little bit more flexible with, but still, unless there's a good reason, hey, we have a family party, it's an hour away, it's going to be a little later, that's a good reason. Being there for your family is important. Being there for your children, that's important. But if it's like just to scroll on TikTok anymore, that's not a reason to be flexible. All right. The main thing is to always remember that staying up late has a cost. It's either going to cost you, typically it's going to cost you your morning routine. When that alarm goes off, if you decide to, snooze, if you decide to, I'm going to wait, I'll go to bed in another 10 minutes, it's equivalent of pushing snooze, right? It's probably going to cost you your morning routine. Or even if you're able to still get up on time and go through your full morning routine, it's going to be costing you energy. It's going to be reducing the amount that you can rest. Okay, so just remember that. Staying up late past your reverse alarm, it has a cost. Prep for tomorrow. Like I talked about, it's super important that we prepare tomorrow's day today before we go to bed. It's going to help us with our morning routine. This is our top button. Going through our evening review is our top button for tomorrow. This is when that reverse alarm goes off, you're sacrificing tomorrow's time by not following through on it. Okay, so this next training, I'm going to go over how to prep or how to get up on your first alarm in the morning. Super powerful training, because getting up on your first alarm will lead to you having your full morning routine, which will lead to you having a better day. And when you have a better day, you'll have an evening review. And when you have an evening review, you'll have a morning routine the next day. And the whole thing just leads to a better life. So before you get off the video, I want you to pull out your phone or whatever your alarm is, set your evening review, your reverse alarm right now to start you into your end of the day routine. All right, guys, if you have any questions, reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next module.